So we've got Evan here today with us.
Thanks, Phil.
If you can, we'll just get straight into it. So usually I start off with asking what your kind of background is, how you got into e-commerce, whether it was drop shipping and stuff like that. You can start.
Yep, no stress. Yeah, so I've been in e-commerce for a few years now, and got in as a bit of just probably like most people, as a bit of a side hustle. Dip the toe in the water and see what it's like, and then it's something that I enjoy doing. It's great managing a business and all of that sort of stuff. But the real I suppose light bulb moment is realizing that you just can't. Drop shipping's great to a certain degree, but you still need to have a good amount of control over all of your processes, which you just can't get through a platform like AliExpress and those sort of guys. And that's kind of where we're at now. We've expanded on a bit further, partnered up with Honest Fulfillment, and just taking it to a next level.
Cool. So before you got into drop shipping, what was you doing before? What's your background, or your profession rather?
Yeah, man of what do they say? I'm trying to think of that term. I've done quite a few things in my background. So I've worked in probably every trade you could think of. Done labouring, landscape gardening, all the way up to more sort of professional style jobs like account management and software development. So I've been in software for about 15 years now, which is good. And the interesting thing about that is, being in software hasn't really given me, from what I can see, too much of an advantage in terms of e-commerce, because it's not about the software. It's about having the right marketing, the right processes, and the right products. That's what it really comes down to.
Cool. So the majority of your experience is software. Is it development? So did you actually do like the programming and stuff, or?
Not smart enough to be a developer. More in terms of product design, strategy, in terms of looking at marketplace, what's required, putting together UX, UI, that sort of user experience, user interface. Sorry, not to go too technical there.
So are you still doing that and doing e-commerce on the side, or are you full-time e-commerce now?
I'm doing less software. I'm still in software because I love that side of things, but growing more and more into e-commerce, and yeah, that's starting to take over a lot now. Okay,
great. So from when you first started dropshipping, at what point did you switch over to like a branding, have an inventory, and kind of taking it seriously, so to speak?
Yeah, look, probably not as soon as I should have. What happens is typically you need to start basic and build up, but the problem with that is you spend more time managing returns and problems with customers and product quality and shipping times and issues with processes instead of working on your brand. So I probably ran with that for maybe 5 or 6 months before I just said, look, no, it's enough. I just can't. There's not enough time in the day. If you're going to scale, you kind of got to, bite the bullet and do things properly.
Cool. So it was 6 months from first starting, or 6 months from actually having a successful campaign or a successful product?
Probably from first starting. Yeah. Probably from first starting, I'd say.
Okay. And how long since you started did you find traction, or did you have success?
I was pretty lucky, only on really my second product or second store. First one got a tiny bit of traction, but not enough. Second one got a lot of traction. It was probably down to it was a decent product, and it was back before the iOS 14.5 upgrade too, when Facebook was still pretty good and friendly to use, and some great data coming back. I feel like since then it's been a bit trickier, because you're sort of in the dark a little bit with some of your data. Just really hard to track conversions and stuff like that. But there's still plenty of lots of
Okay.
opportunity there.
So with that second, the successful product, is that the same product or niche that you're in now?
No, it's completely different. So it was really, yeah, that product was really more of your very stereotypical drop shipping product that had a finite lifespan. So went out there. I mean, you know, I know you've talked about this in the past, Phil, and probably every drop shipper's had some sort of experience with this. But you have a product, and if it's purely marketed on Facebook, and I don't know what it is, you exhaust your audience, or competitors take over, something like that, but it just tails off, and it just didn't have a strong enough brand.
Mm-hmm. So after that kind of died out, well, I take it died out, that's the reason why you moved on. Is that when you then went into the niche you're in now, or did you have a few more kind of attempts and tries?
Yeah, I've had since then. I've had a couple of shots, and really what I was doing is probably doing a lot of what others are doing, just like searching through Facebook and going on to you know, finding other successful products that people are selling. But once again, I realized after testing some of these, they really just have a finite lifespan. And so what I did is I tried some other stuff, looked at some you know, some keywords around Google, like problems that people are trying to solve that aren't saturated, and then found a little niche where you know, where I was able to get create a product and a brand with longevity that, you know, hasn't just tapered off over time.
Cool. And that's what you're doing now, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not going to disclose what it is.
Yeah.
With so with this product, at what point did you, because it's more of on the kind of customized side, so it's quite unique in that respect. So you can't literally just buy it off the shelf and then just send it as it is. It has to be kind of adjusted or amended. How did you actually choose that product, and how did you start at least testing it to validate the market, or did you just take the risk, you purchase inventory and then tried it out and you was lucky enough to be successful?
Yeah, so that's I wish I could say I was smart enough to be able to foresee that people would want to purchase it, but basically the strategy with this particular product you're talking about is I found a business that was selling it in another country successfully, and then I took a similar sort of business model and then applied it to another country where they weren't really a competitor that I had to compete against. So that's kind of a strategy I've been using lately, is looking at things that are working maybe in other industries or other countries, and then remarketing them and rebranding them to an entirely different industry.
Yeah, good strategy. And it's important to note here that Evan isn't going around ripping other people's sites and products. There is some kind of innovation here, and it's a great strategy to model and not reinvent the wheel, but not you know, rip other people's marketing or stores or products. Cool. So at this moment in time, I think you're still kind of testing out other products or similar products that can complement the current kind of idea and niche. And correct me if I'm wrong, at this point you're still in the kind of testing phase. Are you testing this with your existing customer database, or are you testing it with, you know, paid ads and stuff?
Yeah, so I haven't actually tested it with the existing customer base yet, which is a really good asset, which I'm kind of holding up the sleeve at the moment, because my next product's been getting some decent traction without any advertising, and I just wanted to get that out and try it with some customers first, because one thing I've learned along the way is you have to have a good quality. It's not just solving a problem, but you need to have a good quality product that people want to keep, you know, referring to their friends or buying and stuff like that. And I have to say, just give a shout out to you, Phil, and your team. Like, kudos for the process of helping to test this product. Has been absolutely amazing because it's hard to test stuff and juggle the whole MOQ stuff and all things like that. And you and the team have been fantastic with like helping to drip and test that.
You're welcome.
It's really business.
Welcome. So with the going back to your kind of winning product, or your kind of staple product, so to speak, what at its peak, what kind of volume were you doing with this item? Is it, I take it it's not really seasonal, is it? Or
No.
did you find it's strong in some times of the year?
We had some great volumes. I can't remember the exact gross. I remember in a couple of months we spent probably 120K in marketing, and we got like really good ROAS on that. But yeah, the problem was it just sort of, it really spiked and then went straight back down. So it was it hurts, and there was lots of stock hanging around and that sort of stuff.
Cool. So you got good results and it peaked, but it kind of dropped shortly afterwards. Yeah, left with a fair bit of stock on hand as well, which is always a bit of a disaster trying to clear that out. And but it was good. It really jump started, gave finance to start trying some other brands and products. Cool. So going back to marketing, are you still relying on only paid ads, and is it only one platform, or you're utilizing lots of different traffic sources?
Yeah, so I mainly rely on Google and a little bit of Facebook. I'll use Microsoft as well. Microsoft gives like a bit of traffic, and a little bit of SEO too. SEO is really hard because you can't really track the results. But when you look at your Google Search Console, you can see, the keywords you're ramping up for. The main thing for me is I don't want to rely solely on one platform, because there's just so much risk, especially after seeing Facebook after the iOS 14 update. Just don't want all my eggs in one basket because there's just too much risk.
For sure. And are you doing all of that yourself? All the different platforms, all the marketing, you're doing it?
Yeah, keep it. So one thing, like before iOS 14, I was probably trying. And this is one thing too. Like I think it's really important to learn the aspects of your business before you start to think about outsourcing them. But one thing I've found is that there's a million different advertising strategies out there for Facebook and Google, and honestly, the simplest ones work the best. So I don't really do much now. I might just optimize a few keywords here and there, maybe use some, like a new testimonial as an advert on Facebook, something like that. But simple is the key now with big audiences. Cool.
Great. And I usually towards the end of these kind of interviews, I ask for your kind of advice or recommendations, if for those who are looking to either transition from dropshipping into a brand, what advice would you give them, learn from your experience?
Yeah, the advice I give, there's probably a couple of points in retrospect, because I've been through it and made a million mistakes. There's probably a million more I'm going to make, but the first one would be to make sure you partner with the right company. And I've spoken with I'm not just giving you guys a plug here, but I've worked with and spoken with a million different 3PLs, and it's just like everything's like so different. But I just I like the transparency that I get from Honest Fulfillment. Like it's so upfront. I know exactly what the pricing is. I know exactly what the shipping costs are. Everything's in there. Whereas a lot of other providers say, "Oh, how much does this cost?" And they send back a little email. Like it's not fully disclosed. Felt like they were sort of putting their finger and sticking their finger in the air a little bit. Oh, how much is this guy going to pay? And you know, that's a big thing. Obviously, you know, the processes and the communication are a big part of that partnership too. You guys do a lot of automation, which is amazing for me, which frees me up to look at other stuff, like the, you know, product strategy and stuff like that. And obviously, you know, anyone who's been in this game knows communication's a big thing, and your team's really on top of the comms. So that's one thing. And then the other thing I'd say is just, you got to get in and do it now. Like the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Honestly, if you embed yourself in poor processes and poor products, it just snowballs and it gets harder and harder. You've just really got to move across if you're ever going to, you know, create that brand and get that audience.
Cool, great advice. Thanks for those two insights. And last but not least, I know you're busy and you probably got to go, but with obviously it doesn't apply to everyone, but some of our clients actually have services that they offer, or kind of other side hustles. Do you offer any services to fellow e-commerce store owners, whether that's marketing or consulting or anything like that? You know, here's your chance to do your own kind of plug, and you know, somebody can maybe comment below if they require your services.
Thanks, Phil. No, nothing for me. I got to admit, like there's enough content out there at the moment. There's plenty of and there's plenty of guys that have you know, really nailed it. I'd hate to be one of those fake gurus that tries to keep something that doesn't really. Oh yeah, software. If you want to get into software, just
Don't.
you need to be used to pain. There's a lot of pain. It's hard work. Looks easy, but it's hard. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that.
Cool. No worries. All right. Well, thanks a lot for your time, Evan. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, and no doubt we'll be in touch again on Discord soon.
Cheers.
Cool. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, mate.
You too.
Yeah. Bye.